Have you ever wondered what happens when two people from completely different worlds are forced together by fate? In our story today, a powerful CEO and a struggling single father find themselves trapped in an elevator during a citywide blackout. But what starts as a nightmare for both becomes something neither expected, a chance at love that will change their lives forever. But here's the twist: by morning, one of them will make a decision that threatens to tear apart everything they've built in those few precious hours. Jessica Winters was used to commanding rooms, not being trapped in them. As CEO of Winters Innovations, she'd transformed a failing tech company into a billion-dollar empire through sheer determination and brilliance. Tonight should have been a celebration, closing the biggest deal of her career, but instead, she found herself stuck in an elevator with the building's night security guard, a man she'd barely noticed before. "How long did they say until emergency services arrive?" she asked, pacing the small space, her designer heels clicking against the floor. "At least 3 hours, ma'am," replied Marcus Chen, leaning against the wall. The blackouts affected half the city. Emergency services are stretched thin. Jessica sighed, checking her watch. "I have a board meeting at 7 a.m. I can't be stuck here all night." Marcus nodded, his eyes briefly meeting hers before looking away. "I understand. I need to get home to my daughter too." Something in his voice made Jessica pause. For the first time, she really looked at him, not just as the security guard who nodded politely when she breezed through the lobby each morning, but as a person. His uniform was impeccably maintained but slightly worn at the edges. His face showed fatigue, but his eyes remained alert and kind. "You have a daughter?" she asked, surprising herself with her interest. "Lily. She's 8, he said, a smile transforming his face. "My neighbor's watching her, but she gets anxious when I'm not home by midnight." Jessica felt something shift inside her. This man had responsibilities just as important as her corporate empire, perhaps more so. If you're enjoying this story of unexpected connection, hit that like button and let me know in the comments if you've ever found yourself in a situation where you were forced to see someone in a completely new light. As the hours passed, the formal barriers between them began to crumble. Jessica learned that Marcus had been a promising architectural engineer before his wife died of cancer 3 years ago, leaving him to raise their daughter alone. He'd taken the security job for its stable hours and health insurance, putting his dreams on hold. "You gave up your career for her," Jessica said, now sitting on the floor beside him, her expensive suit collecting dust she no longer cared about. "It wasn't really a choice," Marcus replied with a shrug, but there was no resentment in his voice. "Lily needed me. Still does." "That's admirable," Jessica said, thinking of the relationships she'd sacrificed for her career. Her last boyfriend had called her emotionally unavailable before walking out 6 months ago. Maybe he'd been right. "What about you?" Marcus asked. There must be more to Jessica Winters than what makes the business pages. She laughed, a genuine sound that surprised her. "Is there? Sometimes I wonder." "There is," he said with unexpected certainty. "I've seen you stop to help the janitor's daughter with her math homework in the lobby. Twice. The Jessica Winters in the magazines wouldn't do that." Jessica felt her cheeks warm. "You noticed that?" "I notice a lot of things," he said with a smile that made her heart beat faster. "It's part of the job." As midnight approached, they shared the protein bar from her purse and the bottle of water from his backpack. Their conversation flowed easily now, punctuated by laughter and moments of surprising vulnerability. "You know what's strange?" Jessica said. "I can't remember the last time I had a conversation this real with anyone. Even stranger, I'm having it with my boss's boss's boss," Marcus quipped, his eyes crinkling with humor. "Technically, I own the company that contracts your security firm, so I'm your boss's 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 boss," she corrected with a playful smile. "Oh, well in that case, I should definitely watch what I say," he teased, and they both laughed. But as their eyes met, the laughter faded into something else, a tension, an awareness that hummed between them. For a breathless moment, Jessica thought he might kiss her. Part of her, a part she barely recognized, hoped he would. Instead, the elevator jerked suddenly, lights flickering before stabilizing. "They must be working on the power," Marcus said, standing and offering her his hand. Jessica took it, noticing how perfectly her hand fit in his. When she stood, they were close, too close for comfort, yet not close enough. The moment was interrupted by the elevator phone ringing. Marcus answered, spoke briefly, then turned to her. "They've restored partial power. They can get us to the next floor in about 10 minutes. Jessica nodded, feeling strangely disappointed. "Good. That's good." But as they waited for rescue, something had changed between them. Something neither could easily dismiss. This elevator ride is just beginning to change their lives. If you're invested in Jessica and Marcus's story, hit subscribe now to make sure you never miss our movie recaps and drop a comment about what you think will happen next, ***. When the elevator doors finally opened on the 32nd floor, they were met by emergency workers who escorted them to a room with other stranded employees. Jessica used her authority to arrange transportation for everyone, including Marcus. "I can give you a ride home," she offered as they stood outside the building, the city slowly coming back to life around them. "Thank you, but I don't want to take you out of your way," he replied. "Please, I insist," she said, surprising herself with how much she wanted to extend their time together. The ride to Marcus's modest apartment in her luxury car should have felt awkward, but somehow it didn't. When they arrived, he hesitated before getting out. "Jessica, thank you. Not just for the ride." "For what then?" she asked softly. "For seeing me," he said simply. "Most people in your position wouldn't." Before she could respond, he was gone, jogging up the steps to his apartment building where, she imagined, a little girl was waiting anxiously for her father. Jessica sat in her car long after he disappeared inside, wondering why she felt more alive after being trapped in an elevator for hours than she had in years of freedom. The next morning, Jessica arrived at her board meeting impeccably dressed and fully prepared, but her mind kept drifting to Marcus. After the meeting, she made a decision that surprised even herself. She went down to the security office. "Ms. Winters," the security chief said, startled to see her. "Is everything all right?" "Yes, I just wanted to check on Marcus Chen after our ordeal last night," she said, trying to sound casual. "Chen? He called in this morning. His daughter's sick, so he's taking a personal day." Jessica felt a pang of concern. "I see. Thank you." Back in her office, she stared at her computer screen, unable to focus on the acquisition reports. Before she could talk herself out of it, she accessed the employee database and found Marcus's contact information. Her finger hovered over the call button on her phone. This was crossing a line. She was the CEO. He was a security guard. There were policies against this sort of thing, policies she herself had approved. Yet she pressed call. When Marcus answered, the relief in his voice was palpable. "Jessica? I mean, Ms. Winters?" "Jessica is fine," she said, smiling despite herself. "I heard your daughter is sick. Is she okay?" "Just a fever. The doctor says it's nothing serious, but school policy." "Of course," Jessica said. "I understand. I just wanted to make sure you were both all right." There was a pause before Marcus spoke again. Would you like to meet her sometime?" "Lily, I mean. When she's feeling better." Jessica felt her heart race. "I'd like that very much. If you're feeling those butterflies right along with Jessica, give this video a thumbs up. These unexpected connections are what make life beautiful, don't you think? ***. 3 days later, Jessica found herself sitting in a small ice cream parlor across from Marcus and his daughter Lily, a bright-eyed girl with her father's smile and a curious mind that impressed Jessica immediately. "Dad says you run a whole company," Lily said, spooning ice cream into her mouth. Do you have a big office with a view? Jessica laughed. I do. Maybe you can see it sometime. Really? Lily's eyes widened. Dad, can we? Marcus smiled at his daughter's enthusiasm. If Ms. Winters is offering. Jessica, she corrected gently. And yes, I'm offering. As they walked through the park afterward, Lily ran ahead to the playground, leaving Jessica and Marcus alone on a bench. She's amazing, Jessica said, watching the little girl climb confidently on the jungle gym. She's my whole world, Marcus replied, his eyes never leaving his daughter. After her mother died, I promised myself I'd give her the best life possible. You're doing a wonderful job, Jessica said sincerely. Marcus turned to her, his expression serious. Jessica, I need to ask, what is this? Between us, I mean. Because Lily gets attached quickly, and I can't. I don't know, Jessica admitted. I just know that night in the elevator changed something for me. I've spent years building walls around myself, focusing only on success and achievement. And then in a few hours, you somehow got past all of that. I'm a security guard. I'm a security guard. You're a CEO, he said, stating the obvious obstacle. And, she challenged. Does that matter? In the real world? Usually, yes. Jessica took his hand, an impulsive gesture that felt right. Then maybe we need to change the real world. Over the next few weeks, Jessica found herself creating space in her tightly scheduled life for Marcus and Lily. Sunday picnics in the park. Wednesday night dinners at their apartment, where she discovered Marcus was an excellent cook. Movie nights where Lily fell asleep between them on the couch. For the first time in her adult life, Jessica was building something that had nothing to do with business metrics or corporate success. She was building a relationship, no, two relationships, that made her happier than any professional achievement ever had. But not everyone approved of this new development. Jessica, the board is concerned, said Richard Harmon, her CFO and longest-serving executive. There are rumors about you and an employee. He's not technically an employee, Jessica corrected. He works for the security company we contract with. That's semantics and you know it, Richard said. This looks bad. Dating the help? It undermines your authority. Jessica felt anger rise in her chest. The help? Is that how you see the people who make it possible for us to do our jobs safely? You know what I mean, Richard backpedaled. It's about perception. The Jessica Winters brand is not all that I am, she interrupted. And frankly, Richard, my personal life is none of the board's business. But as she left the meeting, Jessica couldn't shake the concern that had taken root. Was she being naive? Could a relationship between people from such different worlds really work? Or was she setting all of them, herself, Marcus, and most worryingly, Lily, up for heartbreak? Are you feeling the tension building? If you're invested in Jessica and Marcus's journey, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss how this story unfolds, ***. The crisis came 6 months into their relationship. Jessica had invited Marcus and Lily to accompany her to a charity gala, a public statement about their relationship that couldn't be misinterpreted. Marcus had been hesitant but agreed when he saw how important it was to her. The evening started wonderfully. Lily was staying with her grandmother, and Marcus looked handsome in the tuxedo Jessica had insisted on buying for him. As they entered the ballroom, Jessica felt a surge of pride having him by her side. But she couldn't miss the whispers, the raised eyebrows, the speculative glances. When Marcus excused himself to get drinks, Jessica overheard a conversation that made her blood run cold. She must be going through some kind of midlife crisis, said a woman Jessica recognized as the wife of a major investor. Slumming it with the security guard? Please. I give it 3 months before she gets bored playing fairy godmother to him and his kid, replied another voice. Jessica wanted to confront them, to defend Marcus and what they had together. But before she could move, she saw Marcus standing nearby, drinks in hand, his face carefully composed but his eyes revealing he'd heard every word. "Marcus," she began, moving toward him. "Here's your champagne," he said quietly, handing her a glass. "I think I need some air." Jessica followed him to a deserted balcony overlooking the city. "Those women are idiots," she said immediately. "What they said is probably what everyone is thinking," Marcus finished. "Including your board members and investors." "I don't care what they think," Jessica insisted. "But you should," Marcus said, his voice gentle but firm. "You've worked too hard to build your reputation and your company. Are you saying we should end this because of what other people might think?" Jessica asked, disbelief and hurt coloring her voice. "I'm saying we need to be realistic," Marcus replied. "Your world and mine, they don't mix easily. I've been fooling myself thinking they could." "That's not true," Jessica argued. "These past months have been the happiest of my life." "Mine too," Marcus admitted. "But Jessica, I have to think about Lily. She's already lost her mother. I can't let her get any more attached if this isn't going to work long term." "Who says it won't?" Jessica demanded. Marcus gestured back toward the ballroom. "Reality says it. I heard those women. I see the looks. I'm not ashamed of who I am or what I do, but I'm not naive either." "So that's it? You're giving up on us because of some society gossips?" "I'm being practical," Marcus said, pain evident in his eyes. "Something you taught me to value." Jessica felt tears threatening. "Don't do this, Marcus. Please." He touched her cheek gently. "I think we need some time to think. Really think about whether this can work." Before she could respond, he walked away, leaving her alone on the balcony with a view of a city that suddenly seemed cold and empty. The next week was the most difficult of Jessica's life. Marcus had taken vacation time, and she respected his request for space, though it killed her not to call him, not to see Lily. She threw herself into work, staying at the office until midnight, but nothing filled the void they had left. On Friday evening, as she sat alone in her corner office overlooking the city, Jessica made a decision. She picked up her phone and dialed a number. "Richard? It's Jessica. I need you to prepare the paperwork. I'm stepping down as CEO." The next morning, Jessica stood outside Marcus's apartment building, heart pounding. When he opened the door, surprise registered on his face. "Jessica? What are you doing here?" "I need to talk to you," she said. "Please." He hesitated, then stepped aside to let her in. Lily was at the kitchen table drawing and jumped up when she saw Jessica. "Jessica! You came back," she exclaimed, running to hug her. Jessica held the little girl tightly, fighting tears. "I missed you, sweetheart." "We missed you too," Lily said. "Daddy's been sad." Marcus cleared his throat. "Lily, why don't you go play in your room for a bit while Jessica and I talk?" Once Lily had gone, Jessica turned to Marcus. "I resigned as CEO yesterday." His eyes widened. "What?" "Jessica, no, that's your life's work." "No," she said firmly. "It was my life's work. But I've realized something important. A company can be rebuilt. A fortune can be regained. But some things, the most important things, once lost, can never be replaced." "I never wanted you to give up your career," Marcus said, shaking his head. "I'm not giving up my career," Jessica clarified. "I'm still on the board. I'll still be involved. But I'm choosing to prioritize what really matters, and that's you and Lily." Marcus looked stunned. "You're serious about this?" "Completely," Jessica confirmed. "That night in the elevator didn't just change how I see you. It changed how I see myself, my life, what matters. You showed me there's more to life than quarterly reports and stock prices. Jessica, Marcus began, but she held up her hand. Let me finish. I love you, Marcus Chen. I love your daughter. And I want to build a life with both of you, not because I'm going through some phase or playing at being someone I'm not, but because when I'm with you, I'm the person I was always meant to be. Marcus was silent for a long moment, and Jessica felt her heart in her throat. Had she misread everything? Was it too late? Then he stepped forward and took her hands in his. I love you too, Jessica. I've been miserable this past week. But I was afraid that eventually you'd resent giving up parts of your life for us, afraid that the differences in our worlds would eventually tear us apart. Our worlds aren't as different as they seem, Jessica said softly. We both value family, hard work, integrity. The rest is just packaging. Marcus smiled, the tension finally leaving his face. When did you get so wise? I had a good teacher, she replied, stepping closer to him. A security guard who saw past my title to the person underneath. Their kiss was interrupted by a squeal from the hallway. They turned to see Lily peeking around the corner, her eyes wide with delight. Are you going to be my new mom? She asked Jessica directly. Marcus looked mortified. Lily. That's not, we haven't. But Jessica knelt down to Lily's level. Not right away, sweetheart. But someday, if you and your dad want that, nothing would make me happier. Lily launched herself into Jessica's arms. Over the child's head, Jessica's eyes met Marcus's, and the love she saw there told her she'd made the right choice. 6 months later, Jessica launched her new venture, a foundation dedicated to helping single parents pursue education and career advancement while providing quality care for their children. Marcus, with his background in engineering and first-hand experience as a single parent, became the foundation's co-director. Their wedding was small and intimate, held in the city botanical gardens with Lily as the flower girl. As Jessica and Marcus exchanged vows, she couldn't help but think about that fateful night in the elevator, how being stuck had actually set her free. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more emotional journeys that remind us what truly matters in life. In the years that followed, Jessica and Marcus expanded both their family and their foundation. Jessica never regretted stepping back from her CEO position. The joy she found in her new life far outweighed any corporate success. And Marcus discovered that his dreams hadn't been abandoned after all, just redirected towards something even more meaningful. Sometimes the most important journeys in life happen when we're standing still, forced to see what's right in front of us. Jessica and Marcus learn.